Hi there, today I want to show you the styling of an impressive Mugo-Pine. In 2021 I was working on the bonsai collection of my friend Willy. Willy is member of the Bonsai Freunde nahe Hunsrück, quite close to my hometown, and I know him for many years. On this day I was working on a juniper. But this is not the styling that I want to show you. As I walked through his garden, one special tree caught my eyes. An impressive Mugo-Pine with a lot of deadwood. As I finished my work on his juniper that day, I asked Willy to restyle this very awesome pine and do an article for the German Bonsai Club magazine. He was happy that I asked him, and 3 weeks later he and the pine were in my studio. As Willy told me, he had this pine for around 8 years and he did the first styling on a workshop in the same year. But after he repotted the tree, it began to weaken, so he needed 2 more years to bring back the vitality. The tree was healthy and ready for the restyling now. I don't intend to give the tree an absolutely new shape. The work will contain more the correction of the position and styling the apex. So let's have a look at the current front. In Willy's fantasy, he saw the front of the Viking ship in the deadwood. Wow, this was really interesting. But if you're following the trunk line, the trunk on the left side went down and rises at the right side in a U shape. For me, the gap between the deadwood looks too symmetrical and split it into 2 pieces. Even the apex looks good from here, there's no unity to the rest of the tree. The view at the other side show almost the same problem. But if you take the current front and turn it a little bit to the left, the gap looks better and the apex will fit to the trunk. Before we start the styling works, Willy had to remove the ferns and the other small plantings. It distracts from the tree and compacts the soil. So let's start with the styling works. First I tilted the pine slightly to the back. If you look at the new front side, you see that the top chin is splitting into 2 and the apex will form 1 unit. Of course, the whole apex is much too wide, so it needs to be shortened. Before we start wiring, the pine must be thinned out and the needle need to be plugged. In this case, the needles were very fixed and Willy must cut them. The little stems will fall off in a couple of days. The pine after thin out and removing the needles. So we can start the wiring now. To bring the complete apex more to the trunk, we work with a screw clamp. Willy made a special pot for this pine by himself. But what will I say? In my opinion, the pot looks very interesting, but will it really fit to the tree? Absolutely no. And I could really convince to look for a better pot. In this moment my wife entered the garden and said, "Oh, what a nice pot!" And all convincing was in vain. Really? So I started to convince him again. However, in the end he agreed with me. After a couple of hours we finished our styling. Now it's up to Willy to take care of this awesome pine and bring it to the next level. This styling was just one little step in the life of that pine, and it needs some time to refine. I hope you enjoyed this video. To be up to date, subscribe my channel please. Take care of you and see you soon. Bye.